coffee. That's why it's called third wave, because it's quite modern. But I think its roots are quite older, because I think this is the first way people actually started to do coffee. Most of the people usually when they think of coffee, they think of latte, flat white, cortado, espresso, which is like machine coffee.
İkinci dalga.
Yeah, so like their second wave.
Üçüncü dalga.
This is, yeah, exactly. So this is üçüncü dalga. But I think this is actually birinci dalga.
Yes.
The thing is,
The real
what
roots of
makes
the
it
coffee.
exactly what makes it üçüncü dalga, I think, is because someone invented something called Chemex.
Yes,
For example,
exactly.
this thing cost like 300 lira, for example, and I really don't know why it costs so much, because it's just a piece of glass and it looks, I don't know, cool, I would say. And also the V60 Hario, which is also like 300 lira, for example. I mean, it's quite nice, okay, beautiful and everything, but I don't know what makes it so special.
Quite a simple design.
Quite a simple design and quite a simple tool, actually. To be honest, I've been drinking and I've been experiencing coffee a lot recently. So I've come to a stage where actually, if I just have a sip of coffee, I can tell you where it comes from and what are its taste notes. Like for example, the one single origin coffee that we have here is Ethiopia, for example. This one is, for example, most probably Ethiopia Yirgacheffe, not a Sidamo, because Sidamo is very spicy. Yirgacheffe is the one which is more maybe like a bit blunt and a bit like tough taste. On one of these, I mixed cardamom coffee, kakuleli kahve, with the Ethiopia, because I'm curious to see what it's gonna give us. I'm gonna try to, like, you know, do maybe like 3 cups in the big sense for each of them, but then I'm gonna give to you all in like smaller cups, maybe like on one of these, so we can all try and look how it tastes. Good coffee has been coming recently to Istanbul a lot, and let me tell you some of the good coffees that exist. So first thing is, you, like with coffee, you have to know what you like, okay? For example, do you like your coffee to be sweet? Do you like your coffee to be hard? Do you like your coffee to be spicy? So it all depends on your taste, damak tadı, what they say in Turkish. For example, a very famous bean is Ethiopia Sidamo. It's washed organically and it has tastes of, for example, black pepper, something called sedir ağacı, I don't know what, cedar tree, and dark chocolate, for example. This Ethiopia here is actually more like what they call topraksı and tütünsü, so more like earthy and tobacco-ish taste. So what's important for coffee is to be roasted very freshly. So inshallah, if you ever think of like making coffee at home with 2 of these tools, you should make sure that the coffee that you use is maximum a week old, because after that you might not feel that it's like you're getting the real taste, you know, again. Another bean is Ethiopia Acacia. It's also a very famous bean. It has sweet taste, tastes like chocolate with vanilla and with some fruits. Latin America produces great beans like Honduras, Santa Clara, or like Costa Rica, Brasilia as well. So Turkish coffee, for example, Turkish coffee is Brazilian beans. So if you're ever somewhere out of Turkey and you feel like having Turkish coffee, you can just go to a place and be like, I want Brazil coffee, okay? So if you have Brazilian beans in your hand, it means you have Turkish coffee. So don't worry about not having Turkish coffee somewhere in the world. You'll always be able to find it. Exactly. Another one which is quite famous and it's new, it's a coffee called Costa Rica Mauricio Jimenez San Martin. It's long name, right? I know, but Latin America, I mean, like Latin stuff sounds really nice, but it's also really nice. Both Honduras, Santa Clara, and Costa Rica Mauricio Jimenez San Martin, they're both really beautiful beans. They have really nice and sweet taste, and I think you should try it sometimes when you have. So this is the coffee çaydanlığı, you know, like it's just a normal çaydanlığı, but it's just more fancy. Like it's fancier. There's nothing so special about it. They made it look cool, as if like you're doing something really special. People tend to like, you know, become very artsy, like doing it, like, you know, move with their bodies or whatever. So yeah, this is how you go. So we'll put slowly water, and then this will start dripping down there. I have to make sure that it doesn't spill. Yeah, and what we have down there is what we call brewed coffee. So you have, this is the first-hand experience of coffee. That's how I describe it. So instead of trying espresso or latte or cortado or flat white, I would suggest you get used to real coffee. And after, it's interesting because after some time you start to develop a taste, you know, and then you start judging. You'll be like, oh, okay, that bean was so cool. I like that one. Was it like chocolate? No, I think it was more like vanilla, you know. So it's a story in its own. One of the famous stories of how coffee was found, for example, is that there was this Yemeni guy who was a shepherd, and he would go out all day with his sheep, and then at night when he would come home, he would really hope that he could be able to read some Quran before he goes to sleep, but he would come home so tired that he would fall asleep immediately. One day he goes to this new place with his sheep, and then when he comes back home, he just wants to fall asleep, but the problem is his sheep won't fall asleep because they're making a lot of noise. So he's surprised with, like, you know, what happened to the animals? Like, you know, why are they not like sleeping? Why are they not quiet? And then he sees that it actually, they might have had some different food today, right? So he goes to this place where they actually, you know, ate the day before, and he realized that they actually have been like eating coffee beans. So he takes these coffee beans, and that's how he develops a method, so he's able to read Quran at night. So that's one of the most famous stories of coffee. Of course, there are different versions. Coffee is known to originate either from Ethiopia, Yemen, or a very small island called Reunion. I don't know if you ever heard about Reunion, but I think day to day Reunion produces the best coffee in the world. It's a very small island. It belongs to France, but it's a really, I would say maybe like rich place. It's çok zengin ve güzel bir yer. Çok küçük bir ada.
En beğendiğin kahve hangisi oldu?
Benim şu ana kadar tattıklarımdan, tabii Türkiye'de biraz sınırlı.